My name is Linda Myers, and when I was 18 years old, my own mother gave me a choice. Your sister, or the door. I chose the door. That night, I left home with just one backpack. Every dollar I had saved for nursing school was gone. My own mother had taken it without asking, saying my older sister needed the money more. The worst part wasn't losing the money. It was hearing the same sentence I'd heard my whole life. You're the strong one, Linda. You'll be fine. In my family, being strong didn't mean they respected me. It meant they expected me to carry everyone else's problems. My sister always came first. If she made a mistake, someone else fixed it. Usually it's me. For 3 years, I worked evenings at a grocery store, skipped trips with friends, saved birthday money, Christmas money, every paycheck I could. By the time I turned 18, I had saved over $9,000. That money wasn't for shopping. It wasn't for fun. It was my ticket to nursing school and to finally building a life of my own. Then, one afternoon, I checked my bank account after work. Balance, $0. At first, I thought the ATM was broken. It wasn't. When I got home, my mom didn't even deny it. She calmly told me my sister was behind on rent, needed a car, and family comes first. I asked one simple question. When were you going to tell me? She looked at me like I was the selfish one. Then she slid a paper across the table. It said I had voluntarily gifted all my savings to my sister. All I had to do was sign it. I looked at my dad, hoping, just once, he'd stand up for me. He never looked me in the eyes. My mom gave me one final choice. If you won't sign, there's the door. So I packed one backpack, grabbed my documents, and walked out without saying another word. Nobody stopped me. Nobody called me back. Not even once. But 5 years later, the same family that forgot I existed suddenly remembered my phone number. And the reason they called was even worse than what they had done to me. For 5 years, my family acted like I didn't exist. No birthday calls, no Christmas messages, nothing. While they forgot about me, I worked harder than ever. I slept on a friend's couch, worked 2 jobs, finished nursing school, and eventually became a pediatric nurse. It wasn't easy. There were nights I studied in my car because I couldn't afford anything else. But little by little, I built the life they never believed I could have. Then, one Tuesday night, my phone rang. The caller ID showed my parents' house. For a moment, I just stared at it. 5 years of silence, and now they were calling. I answered. My mother was crying. The first words out of her mouth weren't, "How are you?" They weren't, "I'm sorry." She simply said, "Linda, your sister needs you." I already knew this call wasn't about me. It never was. She wanted me to come home because there was a family emergency. Something didn't feel right. Instead of driving there, I started asking questions. The more I asked, the quieter my mother became. So the next morning, I made a few phone calls of my own. That's when I discovered the truth. My 6-year-old niece, Lily, had been left home alone all night while my sister went to a casino with her boyfriend. A neighbor heard Lily crying and called the police. Now Child Services had opened a case, and suddenly, my family needed me again. Not because they missed me, not because they loved me, because I had something they needed, a clean record, a stable job, and a safe home. My mother's plan was simple. Lily would officially live at my address, so Child Services would approve everything. But in reality, she wanted Lily to keep living with them, like nothing had happened. I sat alone in my car after hearing the whole story, and I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because I finally understood something, everything they wanted from me. I had built after they threw me away. The career, the apartment, the stable life, their biggest mistake, had become my greatest strength. But I wasn't about to let them use me again. This time, I was going to play by my own rules. I called the caseworker back the very next morning. This time I made one thing clear. I'm not doing this to help my family. I'm doing this for Lily. I applied to become her real guardian. Not on paper, not as part of some family plan. For real. The next few weeks were full of interviews, background checks, and home inspections. Then, Lily started spending weekends at my apartment. At first, she barely spoke. She asked permission before touching anything, before eating, even before sitting on the couch. One afternoon, she asked me something that broke my heart. "What happens if I break something?" I smiled and handed her a plastic cup. I said, "Then we'll clean it up together, that's all." She looked at me like nobody had ever told her that before. A few days later, while cleaning her room, I found a small pink backpack hidden under her bed. Inside were 2 outfits, a toothbrush, some raisins, and her favorite stuffed rabbit. When I asked her about it, she quietly said, "I keep it packed so it doesn't hurt when they forget me somewhere." I couldn't speak, because years earlier, I'd walked out of my parents' house with one backpack. Now, my 6-year-old niece was living the same fear. That was the moment I made my decision. No matter what happened, she was never going to feel abandoned again. I reported everything honestly. The court heard the full story. My family tried to blame me. They called me selfish. They said I was destroying the family. But, for the first time in my life, I stopped trying to make everyone happy. The judge awarded me legal custody of Lily. Years passed. Today, Lily is a happy teenager. That old pink backpack still exists, but now it's filled with swimming clothes instead of emergency supplies. She doesn't pack it because she's afraid anymore. She packs it because she's excited for summer. And every time I see that backpack, I'm reminded that breaking a family cycle starts with one brave decision. Sometimes people call you the strong one because they expect you to carry everyone else's weight, but real strength is knowing when to put that weight down and choosing peace instead. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments. Have you ever been called the strong one while everyone expected you to carry the burden? We'd love to hear your story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real-life stories about family, betrayal, and finding the courage to choose yourself. We'll see you in the next video.